back.
And we're live.
I can't believe we just revealed all those secrets.
I know, it's
Right?
crazy.
We're just talking about Dan's mullet.
It's crazy, right?
It's looking good,
What's
though.
happening? I had to connect it with the turtleneck, right? So it's like cold in Nashville. I've been waking up super early. I don't know why. Today I woke up at 6 a.m. and went for a run in Radnor, and it was just very, very cold. So you got to have something that connects, you know what I mean? Covers the skin back there. We'll see what happens in the summertime.
Wait, are you usually an early riser?
Yeah, I am. I don't usually run that early. Today's kind of been a busy day. We've been running around, and I was like, if I don't do it first thing in the morning with that coffee buzz, it ain't happening.
Right?
When I get back in the afternoon, it starts getting dark already. I'm like, nah, we'll probably just go watch Wicked again, you know?
Oh my God, how many times have you watched Wicked so far?
Only once, but we rented it last night, and we have 48 hours to complete like at least 10 more views. It's unbelievable.
Shay, have you watched it?
I have not.
You haven't seen it yet.
I've always been
You've
a
got an army
fan.
of children, so you don't have a lot of time right now. But
I'm just so cheap. Like it's like the $20 rental. I was like, so we waited for it to go on discount. It's $14.97 right now. So
this is good to know because I saw it in the theaters and I'm kind of like dying to see it again.
it's so sick. I've always did you see the musical back in the day?
Yes. So
Yeah, same.
I had seen the musical almost. This is going to sound horrible, but I've seen it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And I was kind of to the point where I was like, I don't want to go see Wicked anymore. So I was really excited to have like a new Wicked experience and like be excited about it all over again.
Yep.
So much
Defying
better than
Gravity
I
at the
could
end of the
dream.
movie, I was getting chills. I was like, it's so
good.
sick.
Have you seen the musical?
No.
Oh, Shay.
I mean, I've heard all the music and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's incredible. But I got into kind of theater and musicals pretty late in life. I guess it was probably back in like, what do you think, 2013? No, 2016 maybe, the first time when we started going to, like, we obviously had been to New York before, but there was one time I told Dan, I was like, I've never really been to a musical, and I think the very first one that I saw was actually on Hannah and I's anniversary. We went to watch Hamilton, and that was like my first one ever. and I was like, and that's
all been downhill.
Sorry, yeah. But we went like Dear Evan Hansen. We watched Dear Evan Hansen like 6 times when Dan and I were in New York. But I had planned to go and watch more, but then kind of like, COVID hit. I feel like around, it wasn't too, but probably like the next year. I think it was probably actually 2019 whenever we were watching Dear Evan Hansen, right? 2018, 2019.
Maybe, yeah.
And so I had plans to go like see more musicals, but
Oh, I can't wait for
I
you.
haven't got to.
If I were you, I would just watch Shay watch Wicked.
I honestly,
first.
he's coming over the house this afternoon. We still have 48-hour window. I was like,
You're gonna trap
it's
him.
3 hours though, so you got to really block it out.
Yeah.
just tell Hannah like, hey, look, we're doing a lot of work today. We're just watching Wicked.
Market research.
Busy,
So busy.
Well, and I think it's fun too because now we get like a whole nother year of Wicked.
For sure.
Like
it's coming out this year, right?
November. Yeah.
How about it?
It'll be
Oh, really?
Fun.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, part 2. They're cranking them out. So good.
Dang, I didn't know was there a part 2 in like the musical, or is this
So
like
it's
a new
a first
thing?
act and a second act, but
Okay.
like the first movie is 3 hours, and I think the second movie will be 3 hours.
So this is based. This has already been done. Like it's like the movie was kind of based on obviously the play. So this is
but they've
still
like
the
added
story.
things. So there's more story to it.
For
almost,
sure.
I think. or more
Excited. I'm
scenes.
excited. There's a lot for me to dig into there.
They were both unreal. Ariana and Cynthia Erivo, like ridiculous.
And I'm just like loving that they're in the press everywhere, like everything they're doing. Like
the
I can't
finger
get enough
hold
of
was
it.
pretty incredible. It was unreal.
the small.
Everything. Wait, would you guys ever do, or did you do any theater?
No, but I'm a super fan. Like before I die, I want to write a musical. So
That's an amazing. Like
yeah.
that's a good one to check off the bucket list.
we've got a Grammy, so we've only got 3 more to get the EGOT. You know, it's like we can win a Tony somehow. We got nominated for an Emmy doing The Voice, so we
That's
got
exciting.
close, but we didn't quite get there.
I know, but even still, like the fact that like that could happen is exciting. And
For
like
sure.
writing a musical, like that is.
And sometimes
You
like
can
it
make some
happens all at
serious
once.
Money on a musical.
Oh, for sure. But it's hard. I mean, you got to invest 10 or 15 years into it. We've seen people do it, and then it's like it's on Broadway for a week, and then it's like, no, R.I.P. It's gone. You
It
know?
is wild. I have a friend who literally for almost 10 years has been working this like 2-man show, and I still am like, if he's got to get it. But like every once in a while, like I don't hear about it for years, then it pops back up. I'm like, I just can't wait for this to happen. It'll be so amazing.
It's grueling.
Yeah.
But musical theater, I have so much respect for it. It's
Yeah.
like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is amazing. All right. Well, I didn't know we were going to talk about musicals so much, but that was fun.
I'd like to
Come
double
on.
down on it. Let's go ahead and let's go back to the history of musicals. I'd like to ask you some questions.
I mean, I'm just going to be like, so did you guys talk about the song at all or no?
No, not at all.
no.
Not at all.
Wait, how was holidays for you guys? Did you have a good time, good rest after a busy
Yeah.
year?
It was great, man. Holidays we actually stayed here. Hannah is very pregnant right now.
I was going to say, do you have a baby?
We are
Will you have a
very
baby
not
by the time
yet.
this airs?
We
I
will
don't
have
know.
it in we're going in like the 20th.
Okay. Oh God. So,
So
like,
yeah, it's coming very, very soon. But no, the holidays were great. We stayed in Nashville and just kind of hung out with the family, and her parents came and her sister, and we just kind of hung out.
How are the boys feeling about the coming of the baby? Like, I'm sure the older ones kind of understand. Abram probably is like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the two older ones have already went through it with Abram, and so they kind of know what to expect. Abram doesn't, he's not quite old enough to know what's going on, but he knows that there's a baby in there. He'll walk up and kind of, pet the belly, and but they're really excited. I mean, it's a wild experience. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, they're excited though. We've had a nice little break. But we're ready. I feel like I'm already itching to like start writing some music and get back into the studio.
Yeah. I felt the same way getting back after the break. I was like, okay, I'm done being, I would like to go back to work and have a routine. I also needed to compliment you because I was looking at the Christmas card photo that you and Abby posted.
Oh yeah.
And I would really like to know how did you get
how do we
all
get the
four
dogs to look?
All right, is it Photoshop or is it
no, it's not Photoshop. Insider info, right? We usually like take hours and it's like treats, hey chief, you yell their names and it's somebody's like snapping photos. Something always wrong. We were filming a video for our Christmas album that day, so we had cameras rolling just like this in 8K, and it was rolling for like, I don't know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So I just got that video, like the full resolution of it, and scrubbed it till there was
You're
a
like,
perfect
Abby,
screenshot.
Smile for 3 minutes.
Exactly. We're just petting the dogs. I was like, just say treats or like Sadie. Sadie's their best friend, and we got him.
Oh my God.
It was a rolling camera though. It was screenshotted from a video.
That's honestly a great call. I feel like
it's the
you
move.
might have to add that
solid.
to how you guys are doing Christmas photos going forward.
Yeah, Christmas
too.
photos it's tough because I think the key is when you're taking like family photos with a bunch of kids, it's like, I feel like in the moment, I'm literally thinking every time we do it, I'm like, there's not one single usable photo in this entire thing. I was like, there's no chance. And every time that we do it, there's always like a couple that you're like, when did that happen?
And you try to justify like one kid or one dog is like looking off or their tongue's out. It's like, well, it's their personality.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I do think that there's like some truth to that though. When I'm looking back at like these pictures and we're like trying to get all the kids to look, it's always when I'm looking back, usually there's a photo where they're like doing something crazy. And in the moment you're like, gosh, like God, we're trying to smile
pay
here.
Attention,
Pay attention. Do a good photo. But it is like when you look back, those are some of the most special ones whenever it's just they're doing something wild. It's like you got to.
This is more.
I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
No,
it's rare to get everybody like perfectly smiling. I'm like, this kid is not even 2 yet. He's not gonna smile.
Gonna happen. Well, you guys obviously had huge 2024. This like big, massive Heartbreak on the Map tour, being on The Voice, like all this stuff going on. What are you like personally and professionally excited about or looking forward to for 2025?
I'm excited to make new music. We haven't made music since we made the Bigger Houses album, and I feel like that album kind of got us back to the fundamentals and the basics of Dan and Shay and appreciating and loving music. Like I feel like it took that album, us making that album, us rebuilding our relationship to get to the place where we just loved being in the studio again. And now it's like, all right, we did it with Bigger Houses. Like, this is awesome. Clean slate, getting to make new stuff. Country radio's playing the heck out of the songs. Thank you for playing Bigger Houses. Sitting in the top 5 right now. But just that opportunity to get to make music. And I feel like in the past, we've talked about this, but our perspective maybe on it was like, oh, we have to go make an album. It's like, we get to make an album. That's so sick, like more than 10 years into our career, a lot of bands don't make it 10 years. Most bands don't make it 10 years. And the fact that there are still people willing to listen, there are still people willing to have us on the radio, have us at a venue to play a show or to a studio, like, is amazing. So that opportunity is, I don't know, it's a blessing.
Isn't it crazy, like, what that perspective shift can do for you? That's just
everything.
Like, we have to make an album, or like, we get to make an album. Like, sometimes I have to tell myself, I'm like, oh, I have to go to this concert. And I'm like, no, I get to go to this concert. Like,
and sometimes I think it was COVID, like, crazy
sure.
enough that taught us that, because in the past we never had like a shock to the system like that, where there was a time in COVID I was like, we may never get to go to the studio again. We were making records on my laptop in my house, which we kind of do anyways, but it was like,
to be fair, we have always done it.
Hey, we can't hire a drummer. I got to play the drums on my little keyboard here, and it was, I think that moment that said like, we may never get to do this again, that made you appreciate it when it came back. And it's like, dang, we get to do this, and we get to have like real people in there, like making the music with us. It's a special thing.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Shay?
No, I couldn't be more excited to get, back to writing again. Just like Dan said, I feel like we have a new appreciation for what we get to do. And I think it's been several years, like Dan said, through COVID, of kind of having that perspective shift and really just trying to slow down and appreciate things. And I don't know, I think, we've also grown up a lot as people, and, our friendship has gotten closer. All of us have gotten closer. And I think it's that perspective of, man, life moves really fast. And I think, both of us having families really puts that into perspective. It's just like over time, you look at old pictures and it's like, man, that seems like it was yesterday. I look back on our radio tour pictures and it's like, man, when did that, like, where do those kids go? And I feel like, we have a lot of wisdom. We've learned a lot of things because we've made a lot of mistakes. And being able to take all of that, and even though sometimes it can feel a little fleeting, like, man, I feel like we missed a lot of opportunities, or we should have done this, or should have done that. Taking all of that and not to, be upset about that or kind of look back with regrets. I think just taking that, all the things we've learned and moving forward of like, hey, let's appreciate these moments, and it's like, whether it's, with your family or, putting down your phone and being like, hey, I'm going to be present, in this moment. We've tried to bring that into, our songwriting and into just our careers in general, to be like, man, let's really soak this in and not try too hard to, control the result of something, and just to enjoy the process of getting to do this. Because if you rush through all of those steps, you just miss it. You miss all of it. And I think we're really focusing on that and trying to make this record is I'm really excited to get back into the studio, because we're, intentionally giving ourselves the time to be creative and get in the studio and be like, hey, what do we want to create? And just enjoy that process and just go, let that ride take us where it wants to go, and just to appreciate and enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to that whole process. And this is the first time kind of in our entire career that we, don't have a full tour on the books, and going out and touring.
I was
and
excited to hear what you guys have, like, what's coming.
Yeah, we're definitely going to, obviously we love being on the road, and we really enjoyed doing that, in 2024. And, but we had it was a really long year of touring in a good way. But I think this is the first time that we've been like, all right, let's take a step back. Let's write the album that we want to make. And so we're prepared, our fans deserve that, for us to give it everything that we have. And I'm really excited about this year and really being intentional with just creating the best album of our career. I feel like it has to be that every time you go into the studio, you're trying to write your best material, but giving yourself the time and the space to do that is really important. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to have a year of getting to do this again. It's pretty amazing.
And it's great. And I always love when I see people get to the point that you guys are at right now, because you watch so many people go through that process, like rushing an album, and they got to do it, and they got to get it done. Like, I want to hear the art that you make when you've had a little bit of space to breathe, and like what really, like the art that you need to make or what wants to come out of you. You know what I mean? And I
think that's kind of what happened on Bigger Houses.
Yeah.
On this past album, we had a little bit of time off the road. We finished up our arena tour. We needed a reset, and I think all that we had been through, the highs and lows, caused us to have that moment where we came back together. We rebuilt our relationship. We rebuilt our friendship. Because of that, the Bigger Houses album was born. And we had time, Yeah. But it's like, I always feel bad when you're a new artist, and we've been through this. It's like, you're on tour, you're doing 200 dates a year. The song peaks, and it's like, we need another song. What's up next? And it's like, I love that pace, but also that pressure's hard. You know,
that's a lot.
And it causes people to force some stuff out that sometimes they wish they maybe didn't. So I feel like we've got enough time to kind of sit back, appreciate what Bigger Houses has done for us, but just be re-inspired,
Yeah. Talking about the song, which Dan said is in the top 5 right now, what has it meant to you guys to share this song with the world? Like, because I know how like profoundly it hit me the first time I heard it, and I'm just curious, like, what you hear from fans about the song.
This has been one of the most reactionary songs we've ever done as far as stories, that we get to hear. We've had a few of those songs that, obviously Speechless and From the Ground Up, that people have these incredible, journeys with this song and kind of have, gotten to live life and be inspired by that song. And it's this one in particular, I feel like is such a message that we all needed to hear. And not just a song. I mean, it really was a message and kind of a mantra for people to live by. And kind of, it's very rare that you get to sing a song that is exactly where you're at in your life. And, we kind of had, From the Ground Up was very personal. Wrote that about our grandparents and, the love that we wanted to have, with our wives. And this song is just, it's exactly where we were in our life. Because I feel like we've, spent a lot of time chasing things, not on purpose, but you kind of start going down those tracks, and it's really hard to slow down. You kind of are just on there, and it's hard to enjoy the ride and to look around and enjoy your surroundings, because you're just going and going. And I think that realization for us, we had gotten to that place in our lives that we realized that winning another Grammy or getting another #1 or whatever it might be, when you get to that place where you're chasing more of those things, the bar is ever moving.
Yeah.
It's like, it's with anything else. It's like, you have a dream, you're in business, and you're like, when I make my first $1 million, I'm going to be happy, you know, and you set these 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 things for yourselves and these expectations. And if you do that and you continue on that path, like it's an ever moving finish line, because you're always going to want to kind of get to that next thing.
Yeah.
And, we realize that, in our career of like, man, we just need to step back and appreciate what we have and enjoy these moments. And that's what the song is about. Happiness doesn't lie in, all these things that you go chasing. It doesn't live in bigger houses. And obviously that kind of encapsulates, bigger houses. It's not just about houses. It's about everything that you chase, everything that you've kind of set your hopes and dreams in. And it was just, and the story behind the song is amazing. But it's just, when I first heard that, it was like, man, I can't wait to sing this song, because this is, to be able to stand on stage and to sing a song with conviction is very rare. It's like, we're storytellers. A lot of the songs that we're singing on stage, like Tequila, of course I've been through that, but not right now in my life. We're happily married and are, building families. And it was very emotional, honestly, to be on the road and to, after hearing all these stories from people, to stand there on stage knowing, Dan and I's journey with our relationship, and we've been very candid about that. But to stand there on that stage and to sing that song in particular was just like, it was very moving, for us, to stand there and just be like, man, all that this song represents. And there's little things too that, not everybody would know, like the song, written by Andy, Albert, and Dan, and then like Dan and Andy lived in a house together whenever we met. Like the night that I met Dan, Andy was there. And the little house that's on our album, it says 507 underneath the door, and that's underneath like the porch. And, a lot of our fans know this, but that was where we met. And it was just a cool, reminder of, just the entire story. It was a very full circle moment. And to have this song on the radio, who it was written with, where the inspiration come from, and how far we've come on our journey was just this all-encompassing, like, whoa moment. And it was crazy standing on stage singing that, and just hearing the stories from people of, we had a lot of, it was never like, hey, I really like that song. The stories would be like, Dear Dan and Shay, this song has affected me in my life. And I think when you're able to have a song that truly moves people to change the way that they see their life, that's a very rare and very special thing. And I know that it changed the way that I perceived my life, and I know it did that for a lot of people. So to be able to have a song that not just moves, it doesn't just move people for a moment. It really changes the way that they see everything around their life. And if we've learned one thing, perspective is everything. It's like nothing can change in your life. If you change your perspective, you start to see things for what they really are, and the little blessings that are kind of disguised as inconveniences or whatever it might be. And I don't know, I'm really proud of the song, and it's just it's incredible to be, on this journey with this song. And now that it's sitting in the top 5 is just, I'm super proud of the journey that it's took and the way that it's changed not only our lives, but the lives of our fans and our families. And I don't know, it's just amazing.
It is a really incredible song. Yeah,
that was great.
Hey,
that was
great. Wow. That was beautiful. To me, it's like you said, to be in the moment where you can sing the song that like means so much to you now. But to me, it's timeless. Like I'm sure that Tim McGraw still is like, it's like he feels it in his heart when he sings "Live Like You Were Dying." You know what I mean? Like you'll be singing Bigger Houses in 20 years, and it will still have the same effect that it does.
Because you always need to be reminded of it.
Exactly.
It's not just that's a really nice. That's a nice song that I can relate to from my past. It's one of those things that you can take with you and kind of hold near and dear to your heart to remind yourself always of like, hey, whenever you're feeling low or whatever it might be, you didn't get that job, promotion or whatever it is. It's like, hey, you know what? This is not what's important, and that's what I'm most proud of. Is it's an evergreen idea that we all need to continue to push forward and remind ourselves of all the time.
It really is timeless and beautiful.
Thank you.
Will this be the last single off Bigger Houses?
I don't know. We might have to turn the mics off and talk about it. No,
okay,
honestly,
I wasn't sure if that was something.
We would like to go another single deep off this album.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not really ready to move off of Bigger Houses.
No. Let's get it to number 1 and do the thing. Now, Bigger Houses, this album is so special to us, and as we've said a million times, but listening to it front to back, we've kind of been in that space recently. It's like, well, if there was a single 3 off the album, what is it? It's like, dang, I don't even know what I would pick. There are a lot of songs that mean a whole lot to us that like reinvigorated our love for music. And I don't know. I feel like the chances are possibly high that we will go with another single off this album.
I love to hear that because nothing frustrates me more than somebody puts out a great record and then like before they get like 2 singles in, they're like on to the next. I'm like, but I would have loved for that to be on the radio for a year. Like I want to hear that song more.
Thank you for saying that. I'm going to ask you after we get. I don't want to put you on the spot to get your opinion on what we should go with next, but I would like to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Unless you have one, but we can talk about it after. You probably need
to put you on the spot. But what would you say?
Probably have to refresh the tunes, you know?
I would definitely have to go back and give it a listen top to bottom. I also like I don't love giving an opinion on music because whenever someone's like, "Is this a hit?" I don't know, and I don't think I've ever told you guys this. And I say that like my lesson in this was whenever someone asks me what I think about a song, I'm like, "You don't want to know my opinion," because the first 5 times I heard Tequila, I didn't get it.
That's all right.
And I use that as an example because I did get it after a while,
Sure.
but I use that as like my measure to like remind myself that I have no idea what a hit is and I shouldn't be spewing out any advice to anybody because like that's one of my favorite songs ever and I love it and seeing it live is like a religious experience. But like the first time I was like, yeah, this is good. Like I did not know that it would become what it was. So when someone asked me what should be the single, I'm like, you don't want my opinion.
I feel like that was like that for a lot of people. It kind of sat in the 50s, 60s on radio. It was number 2 most added. Brothers Osborne, Shoot Me Straight was number 1 most added that week, and it just sat on the chart for a while. We were like, did we make the wrong call coming out with this piano ballad? And it took a second, but once it got going, like we could feel the passion on the roads, so that's why we didn't give up on it, you know. And sometimes it just takes a little while, you know, for it to burn in, for people to hear the song in the right context, in the right state of mind, and we're glad we stuck with that one.
I'm glad you guys stuck with that one too, because like I don't know what the moment was it changed, but I remember seeing you guys do it live. I can't remember if it was like at the Garden or somewhere, but I was just like, oh wow, like it's such a powerful song.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
great. Music is wild. I mean, like Dan said, it sometimes takes, you know, this, you know, hearing the right context, whatever it is. But I think the key to that is like, you know, when we get in, we write. We have to have conviction of like of what we know we love
and what you
we
believe
felt, because
in,
we've heard the song before anybody else does. We've heard it a million times, you know. And I remember, you know, that song with Speechless, with a lot of different songs that we've taken a chance on, even like from the ground up. Like it's hard to push a ballad, you know, to country radio. Everyone's like, what are you guys doing? We need tempo. And I don't know. I think that's it. Kind of starts there of like we've got to feel conviction on it. Same with like with Bigger Houses. It's like that's arguably a very slow song to push. It has no drums, you know, but it's like we've seen the passion. We've seen the way that it connects with people, and those are the metrics that you have to look at the most. Where it's like you can't get too caught up in like, is it a tempo? Like I would rather have a song that, you know, reaches number 10 that people are we're getting letters about, you know, rather than just kind of a bop sometimes that people are like, yeah, I'll allow that to be played, you know.
That shot
and
up the chart in 3 months.
And there's a place for those songs as well. Like,
sure.
and I think you need those. And it's like, you know, you want to go to a show and you want to hear those songs that are familiar. You know, we've had those songs like an All to Myself where people are like, yeah, I love this song. Everyone knows the song. But I think it's, you know, it's important for us to be passionate about the songs. And sometimes people don't get it at first. But I think that's, you know, we knew that we had our own data where it's like, all right, we know that this is tried and true. We're playing it for our wives, and you know, sometimes it takes a second, but
it does.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy for you guys. I'm excited for you guys to like get back in the studio, start writing it, and hear like what's going to be coming.
Thank you so much. It's always so good to see you.
It's so good to see you guys too.
You're killing it.
Wonderful.
So happy for
Thank
you.
you.
I walked in the elevator and there was a picture of you standing on stage at a sold out Nissan Stadium in front of 65,000 people. I'm like, that's our girl. We go way back. We go
when
back.
I saw that picture, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Thank
Pretty
you.
sick.
I appreciate
Happy
that.
for you.
Thank you.
Pictures are wild.
Yeah.
I feel like you're not able to take some moments and you see pictures of things, you're like, man, that was nuts. That was really crazy.
That was, I will say, one of the first moments in my life where I felt confident enough in what I was doing that I was able to stand there on stage and be like, oh, wow, like, and take it in.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many times in my
cool.
career I've like run out somewhere like that, talked and run off and don't get it. But I was really proud of myself being present. Like you said, like I could appreciate it in the moment and feel it.
I think we all have that kind of imposter syndrome is probably like the wrong word for it, but I think there's a little bit of that in those moments. You almost feel like, I don't even know, like if I deserve to be here in this moment, you know, and so you don't let yourself kind of soak that in and really enjoy that. Yeah, there's been a lot of those moments in our career.
But then I feel like people can tell.
For sure.
Like that's where I feel like the talent, like you kind of reach the next level of like, no, I do deserve to be here. Like people can feel your insecurity, and when you're not confident being up there,
100%.
like,
Yeah, for sure.
then it like eats you alive almost.
Totally.
So
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed.
I
think we've solved all the problems
We've
today.
solved all the problems.
So we watching Wicked or what?
Yeah. Let's go.